Yes, family, welcome back. You don't know what it is again, a Jamaican Glass House. Welcome to a deeper dive. So, we got a few stories today that I'm going to go into a bit deeper for you. You know what I mean? Because basically, I make a video the other day about Andrew Holness and the IC. You understand what I say? And someone is saying I'm spreading propaganda. No, what this is explanation going deeper than you people want to put out there. You understand what I say? You can't hide behind the glean and them. So you can't hide behind it. You see me? Because people are going to know exactly what's going on. Because it's deeper dive. Deeper dive. Jamaican Glass House, you don't know anything said. Watch that one, your family. We have a few stories today. Keep it tuning.
All right, let's jump right in. Ready for another deep dive with me? Today we're looking at a fascinating collection of articles, all from the Jamaica Gleaner, published December 10th, 2024. And wow, we've got everything from crime-making headlines in some pretty unexpected ways to a healthcare crisis that's got folks on edge.
It's pretty striking, actually. You know how these stories, they seem so different at first glance, but when you look closer, they really paint this intricate picture of the social fabric in Jamaica.
Yeah, totally. It's like we're putting together a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Uncovering not just the big events, but those smaller details that make these stories come alive. So speaking of those big events, let's start with the Manchester robbery. This one's got a twist because it all went down live on TikTok. Can you believe that?
I mean, talk about a sign of the times. We've got these robbers trapped in a storeroom broadcasting their pleas to the police and to all their viewers.
It's like something out of a movie. They're pleading, "Officer, we unarmed," and even "Squatty, win, mon." It's wild.
Yeah. You know what gets me? The detail about one of the robbers actually urging viewers to share the live stream. Like, this wasn't just a robbery, it was a performance, you know? It really makes you wonder, is this the future of crime? This weird blend of social media and actual criminal activity.
It's a chilling thought,
Yes.
especially because they did end up recovering an AK-47 from the scene. This whole thing could have gone south really fast.
Absolutely. And it brings up some serious questions about like online safety and the psychological effects for anyone watching this stuff unfold live. Imagine witnessing a crime in real time.
Yeah.
The fear, the tension. It's got to be unsettling.
And unfortunately, this unsettling trend doesn't stop there. We also have the case of TikToker Naya Gang murdered during a live session. It's entertainment turning into tragedy, just like that.
That case really is heartbreaking. And the fact that viewers actually heard the gunshots and Nia running before he was killed, it adds this whole other layer of complexity, doesn't it? Makes you really think about the very real dangers that are lurking online and how easily those dangers can spill over into our physical world with some pretty terrible consequences.
Right. It's a tough reminder that what happens online isn't separate from the real world. But before we get too deep into that, let's shift gears a bit to a different kind of crisis. The junior doctors strike. They were protesting, demanding retroactive overtime pay, and pushing back against the government's decision to get rid of incentive allowances.
It's important to understand that those incentive allowances were a key part of how junior doctors are compensated in Jamaica. They're not just about extra income. They acknowledge the challenging work conditions and the crazy long hours they put in.
So taking those away without really dealing with the bigger issues, I can see how that would cause some problems. Makes sense that the doctors felt kind of undervalued and disrespected, right?
Absolutely. And then you add in the issue of the retroactive overtime pay. It's like adding fuel to the fire. I mean, these doctors work tirelessly, often doing way more than what's expected of them to care for their patients. And they deserve to be compensated fairly for that extra effort.
For sure. And this wasn't just a minor inconvenience either. The impact of this strike was huge. Hospitals had to operate on emergency protocols only. Clinics were disrupted. Surgeries got postponed. There's even a quote from Dr. Frey, who's the clinical coordinator. He said, 50 doctors are doing what 350 doctors would be doing. We cannot hold it for longer than 24 hours. It sounds like the entire healthcare system was close to collapsing.
It was definitely a critical situation, and it really throws a spotlight on the bigger issues facing healthcare systems in Jamaica and beyond, doesn't it? Like, are these systems adequately funded? Are there enough staff? Are the working conditions even good enough to attract and retain skilled professionals? These are questions we really need to be asking.
It's so easy to get caught up in the drama of it all. But like you said, it's important to remember this is all pointing to something deeper. Sometimes it takes a crisis like this to bring those deeper problems to the surface.
It's amazing, though, how both these stories, I mean, the crime spree we were talking about happening on TikTok Live and then, the healthcare crisis, how they both tie back into this whole thing about social media, the good and the bad, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like a double-edged sword.
Right.
We see how it can give criminals this platform, make crime almost a spectacle. You know what I mean?
Totally. But then in the case of the doctor striking, you could argue social media actually helped them, probably helped raise awareness about their demands and get some public support, which maybe even helped bring about a revolution.
So it's like, what is social media really? A tool, a weapon.
Mm.
It's kind of a reflection of us too, isn't it? And it's changing all the time.
It really is. The lines are getting blurrier and blurrier between, like you said, the digital world and the real world. I think the question is, how do we handle this? How do we take advantage of the good parts of social media without, getting caught up in all the bad stuff? Policymakers, tech companies, even everyday people like us, we all have to figure this out.
We need to find that balance between people being able to speak their minds freely, but also making sure people are safe online. It feels like the Wild West out there sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. We're still making up the rules as we go, But getting back to the doctors, their strike really did highlight some serious issues about the healthcare system in Jamaica.
Yeah, for sure. And even though the strike is over now, I'm still thinking about what happens next. You know, was this a one-time thing? Or is this a sign that bigger changes need to happen?
Well, at least the government was willing to talk to the doctors and actually try to find some middle ground. That's a good sign, right?
Yeah, but is it enough? I keep thinking about that quote from Dr. Frey about how they had 50 doctors trying to do the work of 350. The system is clearly stretched thin.
Exactly. It makes you wonder about how committed the government really is to improving healthcare. Are they putting enough money into it? Are they actually trying to fix the root causes of the problem, like not having enough doctors or hospitals that are, falling apart?
This isn't just about paychecks, right? This is about people's health,
Mhm.
a whole country's health. When the healthcare system is strong, everyone benefits.
It's true. A healthy population is a productive population. When people have access to good healthcare, they live longer, healthier lives and can contribute more to society as a whole. It's an investment, really.
I like that. It's like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
Invest in healthcare, and good things start to happen in other areas too, like the economy. Everyone wins.
Exactly. But it's not just about throwing money at the problem. It's also about treating healthcare professionals with the respect they deserve. Making sure they're not burned out, overworked, and actually feel supported.
Right, creating a good environment where doctors and nurses feel appreciated and they can do their best work. Because when they're taken care of, their patients are taken care of too. It's all connected.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And you know what? This brings us back to what we were talking about before, how all these stories are connected in a way. Crime, healthcare, social media, even the economy, it's all part of this bigger picture.
It's amazing how these articles can spark such a big conversation. It reminds you that the news isn't just a bunch of random events. It's a reflection of everything that's happening in society, good and bad.
You said it. And I think by understanding these connections, by seeing how everything fits together, it can help us make sense of the world and maybe even inspire us to be part of the solution.
Wow, it's incredible how just a few news articles can lead to such a deep conversation, huh? We've gone from robbers trapped and pleading on TikTok Live to the struggles of doctors and nurses in Jamaica, and somehow it feels like it's all connected, right?
Yeah, it really shows you how even stories that seem really specific to a certain place or time can touch on these bigger, more universal themes, like how technology can be both amazing and dangerous, or the fight for fairness, or even just how fragile life can be.
You're so right. And I think what makes these stories from the Jamaica Gleaner so powerful is how they show the human side of these issues. We're not just talking about statistics or policies. We're hearing from real people, right? The robbers, scared and desperate, the people watching Naya Gang's murder unfold, those doctors who are just exhausted from trying to do their jobs.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to just skim the headlines and not think about the people behind the stories, right? But these stories remind us that every news event, no matter how big or small, is actually about people making choices, facing challenges, and dealing with the consequences.
Absolutely. As we wrap up this deep dive, it's important to keep those individual stories in mind. The robbers who felt like they had no other options, the doctors who felt like they weren't being heard, the TikToker whose life ended so tragically. These might seem like separate events, but they all point to bigger issues that we need to address.
We talked about the healthcare system and how it needs to be more fair and how we have to figure out this whole social media thing and how we all have a role to play in making society safer and more just. These conversations need to continue, not just in Jamaica, but everywhere.
Yeah, you've given us a lot to think about today. Any final thoughts for our listeners out there?
Well, as we try to navigate this world that just keeps getting more complex, it's more important than ever to stay curious, to ask questions, to really listen to different points of view. Don't just read the news. Think about it. Analyze it. Connect the dots, and then use your voice to speak up for what you believe in. Make a difference.
That's great advice. So to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Jamaica Gleaner. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep the conversation going.
Yes, family, thank you for watching. You don't know things that again, you know what I mean? Thank you for watching this deeper dive. I hope it give you a better, you know what I mean, understanding of what's going on in Jamaica and how everything is connected out there, you know what I mean? So obviously somebody's not doing their jobs. I'm out.